Carmine Conti, the Ref, here on the Heads Up Radio Network.
And a very happy, joyous Wednesday to you all. Welcome back to Heads Up Radio Network. I am Carmine Conti. I am the Ref, and lots to referee about today, and every day I would imagine, but today is kind of a fun-filled fact-finding day. If you're out to find some facts, make it fun. We're going to open up the show like we do every weekend and explain the format. We're going to stay with that as we constantly build our audience, which I hope is constantly. We all kind of drop off from that facet of it, but I want to just remind everybody, and so you understand the format, and that way you can stay with it, and you won't sit at home scratching your head now, saying, how did he tell me to do this? So, once again, the Ref is a entertainment program based around sports, entertainment, music, film, and we're going to talk about everything entertainment or entertaining. So we're not really limited to a specific type of entertainment. I know the Ref sort of deems a quality to most that sounds sports, but let me dismay that. It's not just sports, it's entertainment, and entertainment of all sorts. As you will find out today, with one of our top topics today is a different kind of entertainment, so to speak. But the show is set up in segments, and what we try to do the first part of it is, I'm going to do a little bit of this every week, is kind of a roundup, rundown of what happened and since we last entertained each other, and which was last Wednesday, of course, and what happened over the weekend, and anything that fell into that category, then I'll try to cover if it was something that caught my attention. If not, then of course what we're hoping to do is involve you, the listener, the fan, without putting it any other way. We're all fans of entertainment in some facet, and we hope that is true for you, and that's why you're listening to the show called The Ref, and we want the fan involvement, which is somewhat contrary to some ways fans want to get involved, but we're opening up the lines for you to do so, and to do that, we have several different ways that you can be involved with the show. Of course, first of all, you have to be able to listen to the show and pass that on to your friends. Now, we do have a website. Of course, the website is instrumental in how we start to gather, or a place where we send people to gather so they can become involved and how to be involved. And, of course, our website is the www.famous.headsupradio, as all one word, HEADSUPRADIO.com, and that will take you to the website. Upon arriving there, you'll see the host of the shows that we have here on Heads Up Radio. And if you missed the show, i.e. an example, and Mary Souza's show, it was on at 12 today, and it is every Wednesday. The Common Sense Express there is that you can catch your podcast. So if you want to listen to this later when you get home from work and, I missed her show, and what do I do now? Well, when you get home, you can go to the website. By that time, her show will be posted, and you can listen to the podcast. Also, we entertain everybody to be able to call in or text in, and there's a couple different ways you can do that. First of all and foremost is that you can, simply enough speaking, is call in to the radio station. We have a line available to you if you want to talk, ask questions, present a hot topic in this case. Then we entertain you, and we want you to call in and bring that to our attention. And who knows, you might be live on the radio with me, or who are the other hosts. If you're calling in on their shows, it's the same phone number, and it's 208 area code 758-0546. That's 758-0546. So that gives you an opportunity to call in directly to Heads Up Radio and to the show in question that you might be listening to at the time. Or you can, if you choose to, you can text in if you don't want to be on the air at that time, or you want to just ask a detailed question or a topic. You can text into me directly at same area code, 208-643-3817. Now, that'll allow you to send a text directly to me, which I have right here on my tablet iPad here that I can see as a question, and when we go to station break or something like that, I can look at that and then actually address that when we come back from our break. So that gives you an opportunity to do it that way. And then if you had missed the show, as I had pointed out earlier, and you were listening to the podcast and you had some questions about the show or anything like that, whether it's Mary, Mike, or myself, you can reach us here at, in case for me, Carmine at headsupradio.com, which is an email then that you can send me. So that's 3 ways that you can be in touch with Heads Up Radio and Carmine the Ref Conti, who I've never put in the middle like that before. So there's 3 ways to get in touch with us, and we want you to be involved. So I hope you wrote those down, and if you didn't, I'll go over those at the end of the show today, and then that'll allow you some time maybe to ponder of how to write it down. And if not, then you can listen to the podcast and obviously stop and start it whenever you want and take down the numbers. So as I see today, we're going to talk about some of the hot topics, and we're going to take a short break. And when we take this short break, we're going to actually have one of our first call-ins today. So stay with me, and we'll have a call-in when we get back. Let's go sell some chicken, Trip.
Avalanche Cleaning and Restoration is ready for spring. Are you? Let Avalanche get you ready for summer by making your home or business springtime clean. For your carpet, upholstery, general home cleaning, window cleaning needs, even emergency cleanups, call 208-762-2227. If you've got an emergency, 208-818-4411, or go online at avalancheclean.com. Avalanche, clean, safe, and reliable. In this world of moving commerce, your business is either moving forward or moving backwards. Make sure it moves forward. Maybe it's time we build a spot that fits your image. Blue Creative Group takes the time needed to put together a spot you want people to hear and make it a marketing tool to drive customers to your business. With the tools and experience ad agencies and radio stations lack, Blue Creative Group will score it, voice it, and produce it. And if need be, place it on radio and TV stations throughout the Northwest. Blue Creative Group lets you make your branding personal to your target audience. Be creative, be productive, while being cost-effective. Be Blue. Blue Creative Group. Creative marketing plans for the 21st century. Call today, 208-758-0546. 208-758-0546. Keeping entertainment fair. It's The Ref. Carmine Conti, here on the Heads Up Radio Network.
And welcome back to Heads Up Radio and The Ref. I am Carmine Conti, and I'll be sharing with you today our hot topic of the day. I'm going to kind of jump right into this because we have a caller online, and I want to get him on as soon as possible. Hot topic for today, and of all things entertainment, tomorrow is the anniversary birthday of the Mustang, Ford Mustang, and I was thinking about entertainment, and I can't even begin to tell you how much entertainment I had in my Ford Mustang. But, ironically, we have online here a caller who probably knows more about cars in a different way than one would suspect. So I want to bring him on the line here. His name is Dago. If you're familiar with cars or funny cars or things like that, you'd be familiar with Dago. We're going to do a little talking to him about what he does and his involvement with cars. Dago, you out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, good afternoon to you.
I hear you.
You hear me? You feel me, man? Do you feel me?
Yeah.
Listen,
How are
man,
you doing today?
I'm doing great. You know, our topic today is, of all things, as I was just saying, tomorrow is the anniversary of the Ford Mustang.
Right.
And I had a 64 and a half Ford Mustang. Matter of fact, I got it in my senior year of high school. And I drove a 55 Packard for the first 2 years that, you know, people couldn't wait till I got out of the parking lot. But nothing. You couldn't even have helped that, I don't think, Dago. But but the Mustang, of course, you know, and the years that I had it, I wasn't aware. I had a friend of mine who was in art class who did a couple characters on the wheel wells on the backs of the Mustang, and this is where you kind of tie in a little bit, because I want to ask you, and so you can kind of share your beginnings and experience, and I want you to kind of go back to where, because, you know, you and I are about the same age. I didn't say your age, okay, so don't don't tag me on that. But when did you first get involved with cars? And then I'll relate some of your history as well, but while I have your attention, I'm going to get you to tell me.
I first got involved in cars as a young kid. My dad was an old racer from the 40s and 50s with the old Hudson Hornets, and my dad's always been involved in cars and encouraged me to play with them as a little kid, of course, and we used to crash and burn them. And then, of course, I built model cars, which a lot of boys do, and I won my very first paint award as a kid in a model car contest sponsored by Revell. And that's kind of ironic that later on, as a young adult, here I had my business, and they come to me to actually design and paint some of their real-life cars that got turned into model cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was pretty thrilling in my career. But I basically got started building model cars, and then just always had a love for cars and took it into a career.
Well, you know, I have seen you have posted, graciously enough, on Facebook or whatever, some of the model cars, not just the model cars, but almost a whole scene or a environment, however you want to phrase that, where you have like a garage and the cars and all the things that go in a garage.
Yeah, that's a hobby. That's a hobby that I turned into a side business.
Really?
On eBay. Yeah, and then, of course, the swap meets and stuff.
Now, did you do the swap meets as in Orange County? Did you do some of the swap meets?
Oh, yeah. I
like at the Harbor Drive-In?
No, I never went to the Harbor, no. No, but airbrushing T-shirts, monsters and stuff, just like Big Daddy Roth did. I mean, they were my idols when I was a kid, and I followed right in their footsteps.
Now,
yeah, so
how did you start doing, after the airbrushing, is that kind of what you moved from to the swap meets and things like that to do that, or did you move to do it in another environment, or was it just something, because I mean, I remember the swap meets, you could get anything at the swap meets. But
yeah. Well, actually, it started in school. I used to get in trouble for drawing cartoon monsters and hot rods and cars on, everybody had the brown paper bag book covers.
Right.
And I used to make spare lunch money by, charging guys $0.25 to draw a Big Daddy Roth monster cartoon on their book covers. Well, I was doing it during class, so I used to always get in trouble.
Who needs school?
And then it led to airbrushing during the summer for friends. Turned into a business at the swap meets, airbrushing the monsters and cars and stuff. And then I went to car shows and started painting cars. And it just grew and grew and grew and blossomed as I got more experience and more knowledge under my belt and stuff.
Now, how did you start getting into the funny cars? Because I know you and I have talked. People out there aren't aware. I mean, I was in the music thing, and then of course you know this, but they're not aware of it. Is that years back they had where I lived in Orange County, California. That is not where Paul Tuttle's from in Orange County, Florida, that they used to have a thing at Orange County Raceway where they call it the Fox Hunt, and we'd play out at the Fox Hunt.
Yeah.
When did you kind of start?
Again,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
High school, I was a fan like everybody else, and then one thing led to another. As somebody's career grows, it's who you know and recommendation and whatnot. And little by little, as my career was growing, so was my reputation. And what really started it was Jungle Jim. I actually hit him up as a kid. He wasn't that much older than me anyway. Uh-huh. And I bugged him there at Orange County Raceway, and he said, sure. And next thing you know, me and Jim have a wonderful, wonderful several-year relationship. I was doing all of his West Coast cars. And they were originally painted by Bob Gerdes at Circus in New Jersey and lettered by a very talented man called Mr. J. Uh-huh. And then, of course, I had to replicate their work out on the West Coast. And it was very financially feasible for Jim to have an East Coast and a West Coast painter.
Oh, I bet. And
I was lucky enough to do that. And then once I did Jim's work, well, then the rest just followed. Don Perdone's like, oh, you do Jim's work, And then John Force, I've known John. He's 3 years older than me. And again, as a teenager, he was a teenager, and as a young adult, he was a young adult. And we just knew each other by being at the drags, and we had a 40-year friendship.
Wow.
And then it got to the point where my dad and myself would tease John. My dad would say, how come you don't have my son paint your cars? And he'd say, because you're too damn expensive. So because we were doing now at that point, we were doing ISCA show cars, we were doing TV cars, movie cars, and I was getting one hell of a reputation. And we really did look expensive. Had a big fancy building and matching vehicles.
Now, where was your building at?
In Anaheim.
Oh, in Anaheim, okay.
Anaheim, right off the, I think it was called the 91 freeway then, and State College.
Sure.
And then, so what I did on the back of my crew cab, as a private joke between me and John, I actually painted on the back, hand-lettered it, we only look expensive. And a few years ago, John sent me this really nice autographed picture in the mail. He wrote me this little letter, and at the very end of it, he says, and I still think you're too damn expensive. Anyway, John and I go way back.
Now, and how long did you stay, or when did you kind of then start to or what prompted you or made you move up into this area? I mean, you had years.
Mid to late 70s, my friends started moving up here in droves.
Oh, really?
Well, one of the first ones was Jeb Allen, who drove the English Leather Praying Mantis Top Fuel Dragster.
Sure.
Jeb was a friend of mine, and he says, hey, I just want to let you know I'm quitting drag racing, and I met this girl from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I'm going to go work for her dad's construction company. And it was a big shock to the racing world that Jeb quit, because he was such a staple in Southern California. And he was the first one. And then next thing you know, my insurance man moved up there. He bought the ice skating ring up here. Oh. And then my best buddy, his friend at work, moved up here. Then my best friend came up and visited. He came back, and he says, just want to let you know, everything's for sale, house, boat, race car, everything. I'm moving to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And I'm like, what is with this Idaho?
Yeah.
So all my friends were moving up in the 70s, and I didn't actually come up until 92.
Oh, actually, okay, so you did the same thing, closed it down and moved up here to continue to do what you were doing down there as well, or were you going to go into construction?
No. When I came up here, no more painting or nothing. I just opened up a one-man shop of doing pinstriping and some sign work and stuff like that. And I built up one heck of a reputation in this area ever since. Because, again, with anybody's reputation, if you're good, you're good. The word will get out. If you're bad, you're bad, and the word will get out. And my reputation speaks for itself. I do great work. Right. I back my work. Everybody likes it. I'm reasonable. I'm a businessman.
No, you're too damn expensive.
I'm going to get it done. There's a lot of people that still say that.
Well,
and then the rest is history.
Let's go back a little bit, and with the topic of the day being cars, what was your favorite? Well, I'm going to ask you. It's kind of a three-parter. Okay, it's going to be the first part is what was your favorite car? Because I know, and as far as I was concerned, I mean, my Mustang was my entertainment in a lot of ways, more than one. But what was your favorite car then? Your most entertaining car? Let me put it that way.
Wow, boy,
Yeah.
that's a tough question.
You're not that old.
My first car was a 33 Willys.
Ooh.
When I was 15. Then my next car was one of them little tiny Nash Metropolitans.
Mm.
And this is kind of ironic, goes back to drag racing. My next door neighbor was John Mulligan, the top fuel driver, John the Zookeeper Mulligan.
In Anaheim?
And yeah, we lived in Buena Park at the time.
Buena Park?
And Buena Park.
Orange
and
groves, baby.
I painted my car in John's garage. He helped me paint it in his garage. And, of course, it was the Fighting Irish Green.
Oh, man.
Because, I idolized him, in
Right.
his race car. So, but then I graduated from that. I went from that little Nash Metropolitan into a 69 Roadrunner.
Ooh, did you have the fin on the back there, the spoiler? Or
I had a spoiler on the back, yeah. Yeah, that car eventually was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine in 1976 through various paint jobs.
Your car was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there can only be one car a month on the magazine,
Right.
12 a year, so that's one car I wish I never sold. But, I've always did like the Mustang. I never owned one. Always wanted to buy one, but just really never did. They are a great little car.
The thing about it was the convertible aspect of my car was, and yours was a Superbird, wasn't it? Was that what it was?
No, mine was not a Roadrunner. Mine wasn't a Superbird. No, that was a Daytona.
That was okay. And the one thing that I remember when I got the car, my biggest thing about it is my mother had a T-Bird, and I was not a big fan of the convertible type thing, but here we are. We live in Southern California, right? So my biggest concern is that if I wanted to go up the Big Bear or something, a convertible, right? But that car, because of the weight differential and that they put in convertibles as opposed to standard stock cars, is that 289 it just didn't do it. So I had put a 302 in it, and then I had some fun. I mean, that little guy could, it wasn't a muscle car. I mean, not compared to your car now. Now we're talking about a car. Was that the 440 in the Roadrunner?
I had a 383,
Yeah.
but I had taken the motor out, had it professionally built with a Valesco crank, big pistons, big cam. And it actually ran, when I ran slicks on it, it actually ran in the low 11s.
Wow.
On the street, and that was, I put 488 gears in it. Top speed was like 45 miles an hour on the freeway. But boy, could I launch from a stoplight.
Now, did
so
you
I
take
eventually took them up.
Did you take it out to Orange County Raceway and race it on?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and during that stage of its paint shop life, it was in a couple of car magazines right off my bat that they're gone now, and I forget the name of the magazines, but they had done stories on it back then.
So how long did you end up having that for?
I kept that car from 1969 to around 1979 or 80s when I sold it.
Right.
Yeah, I wish I never did.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice to have that? I mean, the one thing about living here, this must have been somewhat of a surprise for you, too. Coming up here, first of all, that's anybody that moves here from anything called a city that comes here and gets here finds out, like, ooh, things are a little bit slower than I thought.
But I loved it.
Well, and what I was going to run towards is the fact that here, I'm not sure the dates, but you might know them, or even my producer might know them. But when they started Car de Lane, because
let's see, that was 4 years before I got here.
Okay.
I got here in '92, so it would have been 88.
88, yeah.
Yeah.
And that to me, when these cars start showing up here to see, it was like, wow. I mean, we actually had, and I can remember they used to do the burnouts on Sherman and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, it's as like anything else, it's starting to turn a little differently commercial-wise, but still having the cars here. Now, how many, because you set up for that, don't you still do a booth or anything like that?
Yeah. 6th and Sherman. I did it back the first couple of years when I moved here. Then I quit for a long time, and then they had me come back as a guest appearance about 3 years ago, and I loved it. And ever since I've been going back. I've been staying at the corner of 6th and Sherman.
Wow. Now,
and this year I will be demonstrating on a brand new body style for Cadillac Escalade, a 2015. Cadillac Escalade is going to be candy apple red with big 20-inch wheels on it and stuff.
Ooh.
That'll be at my booth that I'll be demonstrating on.
So you're going to, are you going to do some monsters or pinstriping?
Just pinstriping on it. And then on the other side of my booth, I'm going to be having a 50, I think it's a 53, 55 Ford panel, a sedan delivery, that I put an old Hayden Speed Marine logo on it.
Oh.
So that'll just be on display. And then, of course, I will have T-shirts, trinkets, skulls, clocks, toolboxes, lunchboxes, glassware, even Bic lighters. I'm going to have Bic lighters.
No way.
That I pinstripe. Oh, yeah.
How cool.
I'm even going to be doing some popsicle sticks, but I'm going to give them away as a novelty.
Oh, what a great idea.
So people can say, wow, look at this. He pinstriped on a popsicle.
Well, that it won't have anything to do with the taste of it, but what a nice collector's piece. Are you a little stamp on there, Car de Lane and stuff like that? Or I got this at Car de Lane? How cool.
I am making them a custom panel, one of my art panels, that's going to say Car de Lane 2014. That will be, I think, available only to the car entrance as a prize.
Oh, really?
I'm donating it to the Downtown Association, and they will be giving it away as a drawing type of thing.
So going back to, and some of the cars there, because I just love them, and that aspect of being able to walk around. Matter of fact, one of my favorite things to do for a few years, because I lived there on Front, and I used to be able to just walk out my back door and through the alley, and then down the street to the car shows and all that. But I used to take pictures of hood ornaments. I just had this fascination.
Yeah.
And, it's like missing. My wife and I were watching TV the other night, and we were commenting on the Jaguar. It's gone on the new Jaguars. They don't put the hood ornaments on anymore. And
they're beautiful. They're pieces of art.
And obviously, I think other people thought of them that way, too. That's why they start disappearing. I wonder if Jaguar stopped because of that, but... Man.
Well, and of course, on some of the cars, like the Cadillacs and Chevys and stuff, they were starting to look like bullet sights. Of course,
right.
Everybody was teasing them. Right. But literally, what happened was, what I had heard was the manufacturers were pulling them off the cars because people were hitting pedestrians and stuff, and these pedestrians were getting impaled by the hood ornaments when they got hit by a car.
Right.
That's the story I had heard.
Well,
because some of them were getting pretty nasty sharp and whatnot.
Well, you remember the fins on the back of Cadillacs and Oldsmobiles and those the big fins that came out there? I remember running into one playing touch football on the street, and basically almost getting impaled as close. Yeah. It's touchdown, but Conti's impaled. We have to pull him off the back of the Cadillac now.
Exactly. Now, I have a 92 Chevy Caprice station wagon. I think it's one of the last years that they put a hood ornament on. It's got a little Chevy bow tie on the front on a hood ornament.
Really?
And it's flexible. It's on a spring.
Right.
And I love it. I love it because of that hood ornament. It's so cool.
I wish they'd come back. You know, I've thought about this as sort of like, well, that and the fact the chrome packages, which you just don't see anymore, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And that was such a huge disappointment that I mean, I understood why they took it away for World War II because they needed the metal,
Sure.
but to lose it now off cars to me is just, boy, those chrome packages were nice, and I miss that. I miss that a lot.
Yeah, now the big option is to get the stainless steel or chrome door handles. Now it's an option again to have chrome door handles on a car, or chrome mirrors on a factory car.
Gotcha.
It's kind of funny how it's starting to slowly repeat itself.
Well, remember when, and I can remember this too, it's sort of like, I can remember guys getting stock cars where they had, the mirrors were painted the same as the car, and then going to an auto parts store to buy the chrome mirrors to put on the car because you just couldn't, it just looked better with chrome mirrors. But I can remember those days as well. Well, after your Roadrunner, after you lost your first ex-wife, no, your Roadrunner, after you lost that, what was the next car after that fun car?
Well, it's kind of ironic is that I gained so much fame and fortune that actually me and the wife had matching 928 Porsches. And I had gold BBS wheels on them and Pirelli tires, and they matched. They were both bright red, you know.
Right.
I mean, I was kind of in the opulence back then.
Well, it's still living.
And then I had a Chevy dually truck that I slammed and tinted the windows and just jazzed it up, and I had a '48 Chevy sedan delivery, and I had an alcohol funny car. I had a Harley. I mean, I had all kinds of toys because my fame had acclaimed me fortune back then.
Sure.
And now, 40 years later, all I have is the fame.
All the cars are gone? And the wife. And the wife. She doesn't have all the cars, does she?
She took the money, but I kept my fame. You know?
Well, sometimes that's all you can live off of. I mean, you know, well, after all the time that you spent now up here and stuff like that, you would never go back to something like that. I mean, you're settled into this, aren't you? I mean, you're not going anywhere, right?
Well, there's a part of me that misses it. It's the creativity part of it. It misses it. But now, my age and this stage of my life, I'm having too much fun doing other things, and no, I just don't want to do it. In fact, let's see, I would say around sometime in the late 90s, I had a multi-millionaire customer from California fly up here. He was kind of like a Jay Leno, a private collector.
Right.
He flew up here, stayed at the resort, took me out to lunch, put a contract on the table to pay me $100,000 just to come down back to California and work for him privately.
Whoa.
I didn't even look at it. I pushed it right back at him. I says, Bruce, I said, I'm not interested. And he looked at me with big deer in headlight eyes, and he says, and he pushed it back. And he says, no, go ahead, take it home, show it to your wife, show it to your attorney. It's all legit. And I says, you don't understand. And I pushed it right back on the table. We were playing checkers with this contract.
Right.
And he looked at me, and he was in shock. He just didn't say nothing. I says, you don't get it, do you? And he didn't say nothing. I said, Bruce, you can't put a price tag on peace of mind.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Living up in this area up here, I mean, it's like God's country up here.
Well, I think it draws, I think so much of that draws people here. I know for myself, when I first got up here, and the station manager here will contest to that, or, you know, he'll attest to it or contest to it, one of the two. But, I mean, I got up here, I mean, I had 3 different color shades of hair. I mean, I was just coming off the road, you know, on a U.S. tour, and I wasn't knowing what to expect. But when I got here, there is something calming about being here. Yeah. Yet there are times, like you say, is that the creativity aspect here. I mean, there is that here. I don't want to take that away from this area, but It's not like being in a big city where you have, is it maybe the competition or maybe what drives you, you think, or just the fact that it's more hustle and bustle?
It's definitely changed in the last 20-some years, that's for sure. By leaps and bounds, you know that.
Right.
But if I ever get homesick, I just drive to Spokane on Division. You know, that reminds me all over again. Yeah, Riverside. And then if I really want to drive myself crazy and stress out, I'll go to Seattle.
Right.
I just cannot handle it anymore. That's why there's no amount of money that man could have offered me to get me to go back.
Well, and I've seen, and what you're doing now, I've seen that, as you were talking about, you've kind of branched out, would you say, or things that maybe you couldn't have done. I was going to ask you, was doing funny cars more exciting than doing caricatures, or is there some part of this that was more exciting? But I'm not hearing that from you.
Well, no, I just loved it all, plain and simple. Loved it all. I got to the point, I was very blessed, and I'm so grateful that I lived what I lived, where I lived. I was lucky at the time. At the time, if reality shows would have been popular then, I would have had one. I mean, I was in Esquire magazine. I was on the Johnny Carson show. I was a 25th anniversary Grand Marshal for the Disneyland people. They made a French documentary on me. They made a Belgian documentary on me.
Oh, wait a second. They made a French documentary on you?
About American customizers.
Oh, God. Did that involve any can girls or anything?
No. And, I did the 25th anniversary Playmates car for the Playmate Corporation.
Oh, boy.
I lettered Elizabeth Taylor's yacht. I did Sylvester Stallone's limousine. I really had a lot at my beck and call of fame and fortune down there at the time. Mm-hmm. But I did everything. I did everything from lettering Elizabeth Taylor's yacht to a champion racing 10-speed bicycle to a championship go-kart frame. I put 23-karat gold leaf striping on the California champion for the Soapbox Derby. I did everything for anybody. I would paint your mother's Cadillac. I would paint a funny car. I painted a boat. Mm-hmm. The circus people, I had done a pit boss's car, a Buick from Vegas. I repainted his Buick, and through his connections at the casino, next thing you know, the race team's contacting me to paint that big circus circle boat.
Sure.
And they came to my shop, but I never saw those up close in person, and those things are huge.
Right.
Let alone on a trailer sideways. And my shop just wasn't big enough, even though it was 7,500 square feet. It wasn't big enough to get this big, giant boat in my shop. But anyway, I did everything. And the reason I did everything, and I didn't really turn anything down, is because I loved my craft. I loved the custom hobby, the paint, the colors. And race cars, the funny cars, had fame, and not that much fortune, more fame, more resume than anything.
Right.
And you had everything was rush, last minute, work all night long with no stops because they have to go to a race. And sometimes you got stiffed, you never got paid.
Oh, boy.
Because they're racers, And to them, everything goes into the motor and getting to the race. And the painter comes last, even though we're the ones that make the public and the sponsors pay attention to that.
You betcha. Well,
but now, at this stage of my life, I just get to enjoy accenting somebody's $50,000, $100,000 street rod, or even $50,000 brand new car by just putting some tasteful, personalized pinstriping on it.
Absolutely.
So I'm still involved, but just not,
And not under the pressure, and not under the gun, which is going to probably add a few more years to your life as opposed to taking it away. And
now I'm getting much more involved in the music scene in the Inland Empire, as you know, and I'm doing more guitars and stuff.
Yeah, and I want to put this on hold for 1 second. I want you to stay with me. We're going to take a little break here, and try to sell some other stuff, some chicken or pizza. I don't know what Tripp's got on board here this time. But we're going to take a short break. Dago, I want you to stay with me if you don't mind. And we'll be back in a few minutes. And I want to talk a little bit about now, what's going on now, okay?
Sure.
And we have a connection, too, more so than I want to share with the people out there. So stay with me. I'm Carmine the Ref here on the Heads Up Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Coffee date today. My kids are sick again, and I have a terrible headache, and medicine just doesn't seem to help.
Seems like you guys are always sick. Have you had your house tested for mold?
Come on, Jen, you know me. I keep my house spotless. There's no mold here.
That's what I thought about our house. We had the same problems last year and called mountain mold testing. They came right out and inspected our whole house for mold.
Really? What happened?
Well, mountain mold testing took air samples, and the lab test showed that we were breathing dangerous, invisible mold. We got the mold cleaned up, and now we don't have any more wheezing, headaches, or congestion. They gave us our health back.
Mold can cause numerous health problems, including allergies, chronic headaches, asthma, and lung infections. Children, pregnant women, and the elderly are especially susceptible. Call Mountain Mold Testing at 208-660-8877. That's 208-660-8877. Online at mountainmoldtesting.com.
Avalanche Cleaning and Restoration is ready for spring. Are you? Let Avalanche get you ready for summer by making your house or business springtime clean. For all your carpet, upholstery, and window cleaning needs, even those emergency cleanups, call Avalanche. 208-762-2227. Emergency hotline 208-818-4411. Or online, avalancheclean.com. Avalanche. Fast, safe, and reliable. Fire or mold can be a disaster and costly. Let Avalanche Cleaning and Restoration repair your disaster fast, safe, and reliably. Call 208-762-2227 for pricing. Carmine Conti, the Ref, here on the Heads Up Radio Network.
Welcome back to a wonderful Wednesday today. Today's topic today was, we're talking about cars, and actually I've been very fortunate enough to meet someone here in the last year or so where, I mean, I've seen his work and I've seen what he's done over the years, but I never really had any contact with him or anything like that. But ironically, he's called in today because our topic is the entertainment world is of what was the most entertaining car, or how did cars entertain you? Any myriad of it. We haven't gotten into race cars or anything, but today we're talking with Von Dago. Von Dago, you out there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, good. Well, we have kind of gone a little bit over, a little bit of your history and how you're. I mean, we could spend an awful lot of time. That might be something we'll do at a future date too, in more detail. But today we're gonna, we move things along here as fast as we can to try to catch you all up in one segment. But we're going to extend that here to another segment because I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing here now. And of course, you just kind of preempted that a little before you went to break. And that you kind of gotten into the music business and you've done some work on guitars. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And in the drummers, bass drums, I've been doing those too.
But you're going to do mine when I ever buy one.
Yeah. My biggest claim to fame for a drum up here is Sammy Eubanks. It is Sammy Eubanks, Mike Hayes' drums.
Yep.
And before Tim Langford moved from Too Slim and the Tail Draggers, he had asked me to do a drum for him, but I never got around to it.
Unfortunately. I was the original drummer in that band.
Yeah.
And Gary, I forget, I think Gary Garberg did it, or I might be wrong, but I had and it wasn't anything fancy, but it was just the standard, the skull, that he's used for years. But, and then I don't know if Johnny Cage had something different or not, or who was the drummer when you got up here, but if you got up here in 92, Johnny was probably it, and then Then, of course,
Zach Cooper.
Zach Cooper, of course, after that.
Yeah. Well, Tim had, a sticker put on the drum with his skull and cowboy hat, but after seeing my work, he wanted it airbrushed to make it look 3D.
Oh, it would have been beautiful.
But, I never got around to it, unfortunately. But I've got several others online that they want me to do. I just haven't got to them yet.
You didn't do the
guitars,
bacon fat one, did you?
Yes, I did. Yes,
see?
I did. That's all hand-painted.
I'm plugging you along, you don't even know it.
Yeah, that's all hand-painted. That's a wonderful logo.
But
Everybody
then
likes it.
you got up here. Now, did you, and this is where I'm going to kind of jump in here a little bit. And now, as i.e. the ref, I did actually officiate high school and college sports here in the Inland Empire. And ironically, I officiated your son's baseball games. Now,
Yeah, he was a superstar.
yeah, he's a great kid. And I could never figure out until we put it all together, the last name, because I was trying to figure out that. But then, of course, I won't go into any more detail about that and any of your exes or anything like that. but the thing that I do, did you, was he born up here or was he born down?
Oh, no. Yeah, no, none of them were.
Okay.
They were all born
Now, how
down
many
here.
children do you have up here?
3.
Okay.
3.
This is a good time, now, they all went to Coeur d'Alene High then, or?
Yeah, absolutely, every one of them. Yeah.
Cool. And then since then, now, is any of the others, or any of your offspring, more or less, are they into the art, painting, anything like that you do, or anything?
They liked it and they dabbled with it, and my daughter was my youngest daughter was really good at it, but she never really pursued it, and I never pushed it. I wanted them to pursue their own interests.
Well, and the baseball player, what's he up to now?
He got an all-free ride at Oregon State from his career, but then he. Unfortunately, like some kids, they get involved in the drugs and the alcohol, and that's what he did, and he ruined his career.
Oh, man.
So he fell down drunk at a party, broke his arm, couldn't play. The school says, you can't play, you can't stay.
Oh, man.
And he came home with his tail between his legs.
No longer. Lesson learned, huh?
Absolutely. Of course, I could preach till I'm blue in the face, but dads don't know nothing. So
no, we don't.
He had to learn the hard way, and that's fine. Let him touch that fire for himself. He learned the hard way. But knock on wood, he's always been very smart. He's always been an A student. He was gifted. He used to tutor other kids for free because he enjoyed it. His homework was done on the bus on the way home.
Well, he used to try to help me call balls and strikes.
He was amazing. Now he's some high-tech. Well, he worked for Best Buy, and then Best Buy put him on their Geek Squad, and then some rich customer in California hired him away from that, and now he's designing the high-tech electronics in these mega million-dollar mansions.
Oh, you're kidding.
So, he still did okay for himself, although his heart really lies with baseball.
Good kid. Like the kid a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about what else? What else you've been doing now? You've been doing some guitars, been doing some drum heads, and getting still involved with the Coeur d'Alene somewhat. What else? This is a time where we get to shamelessly plug everything you do.
Well, I'm really excited over the music industry here because I produce Bacon Fat, and I just did Dennis Higgins' guitar, and Dennis is, the hottest guitarist in the Inland Empire, and I just did his guitar in Silver Leaf, his Black Gretsch, and everybody's going crazy over it. And Robin Barrett from the Coyote Kings in Yakima, he saw it, and now Robin wants me to do a guitar. And, it's just, typical with referrals, just like back when I was in high school. You do good work, people see it, they refer you,
Amen.
They want it.
Amen. Well, wait till they see the drum set we're going to do.
Awesome.
Well, I sent you kind of a mock-up of it, the pinup drum set. Now, I won't say any more about that because I don't want to give away my...
Yeah. Gary Yeoman, I just did a little pencil sketch for Gary Yeoman in the Voodoo Church. he wants a 1940s pinup on his black Strat, and I showed him the sketch on Sunday night. So we're going to be doing that here pretty soon. So I'm excited over that. I like to keep my creativity going with something new and exciting because I've been doing cars all my life.
Right.
And they're always fun, and I enjoy it, but the music scene is so much more newer to me. Oh, but on another note,
yes,
I painted very little people know this, but I painted Eddie Van Halen's guitar when he was a mere teenager in high school.
Oh, that's when he was in Mammoth.
When he was in Mammoth. Exactly.
I was in a band that played the same. Well, actually, this goes back to the Fox Hunt because I played in a band that was in the same circuit. We used to play the Ice House up in Pasadena. And
the Ice House, yeah.
and a couple of the big daddies they had. And then, of course, the Fox Hunt. And then what was the other drag strip? Riverside out there or whatever?
Irwindale. And then Long Beach.
Thank you very much. I always remember, how do you forget Irwindale? But I can remember us playing Fox Hunts and doing some of those when he was in Mammoth. And then, of course, from there. So you did his guitar when he was in well, that brings back memories.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can remember.
But, it's good bragging rights, but what good does it do me?
But, they're memories, and they're great memories. And I'm hoping my audience out there is enjoying this because, guys and gals, and those of you that are interested in cars out there, and this is actually a piece of history. We're getting to talk to somebody who not only does it as a profession, or did it as a profession more or less, but who was part of the historical background of a lot where this all started. And,
it's kind of, again, with my credits, I did a 1948 Ford convertible, flamed it, for Wolfman Jack for his Clearasil commercial campaign back in the 70s.
Hey, baby!
The 20th Century Fox studio people contacted me to custom airbrush this little Triumph Spitfire with these crazy spaceships and these stormtroopers and these Chewbacca characters and letter it up Star Wars on this car. And we were like, what the heck is this thing? And they were going to give it away.
Oh, boy.
And again, I don't know if people from the era remember, but when that Star Wars first came out, it was one of these limited engagement, limited theater, limited area type of thing. It didn't come out everywhere. Well, the 20th Century Fox was such a gamble because that movie was so far out there. They wanted to draw people in by giving away this car. So we had to airbrush all these pictures on this car. In fact, I'm going to post it to my Facebook when I find the pictures.
Well, please do.
And so they gave me passes to come see this movie. And it was down in Orange County, I forget where. And they had the display with the car and everything. And we got passes to see the movie, and here comes the movie, from a galaxy far, far away. And next thing you know, over that first weekend, that movie became a mega hit. And then the car just got shoved off to the side. They didn't even finish the contest. They just plain gave it away to get rid of it.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny when I look back on it because of that. The beginnings of that movie versus what happened with that movie. And then more with cars, I was entrusted the care and maintenance of the Happy Days car.
Sure.
When Happy Days first came out, they had that little yellow Roadster on the very first couple of programs. And then that went on the ISCA tour, and I was in charge of maintaining it. And then also, too, in American Graffiti, the Pharaoh's Mercury.
Yeah.
I painted that.
Really?
I
don't like that car.
3 of them. I think there were 3 of them that they had done because of the different stunt scenes and stuff. And I painted the main one for the close-up shots, the main one that a private party owned that wouldn't let them do the stunt shots in it.
I could understand that.
Then we later repainted it purple with green flames, but we left 1 inch a stripe of 1 inch of the original maroon on the car for the owner, and the car got renamed the Green Flame, and then it made the ISCA car show circuit, and it made on posters and whatnot.
Well, listen, man, you have been around the world in some ways, and more than once. That's the thing that's incredible to me, and you know, this is an opportune time right now. Is that wrapping up the segment today with you, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you calling in, being part of the show, as you know, we're asking for more so than anything. And of this being broadcasted around the world, maybe somebody out there and is going to hear this who might have seen that movie and things that you've shared with us today. But just for your knowledge too on this, or for your sake, is that, Dago, is there any way that, and how would, if somebody, as you say, referral-wise, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you and to reach out to you?
Basically, 2 ways. Either my one and only phone number, which is my cell number, of 208-772-7399.
Okay.
Or Facebook. And just Von Dago and Facebook.
So if you're out there, guys, look for it. It's Von Dago. That's V-O-N, one word, and Dago, the other word, D-A-G-O. And look him up on Facebook. And what's the phone number one more time there? That's 208-772. 7399. 7399. So if you're looking for my friend here, Von Dago, and this is a referral we're doing here, we might as well consider that as a referral. I can tell you from my interaction with him and seeing his work intimately, I guess, is that, listen, you got to check out his work. You got to check out his website and get into his past. Dago, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you calling in today. And
I appreciate you talking to me. That was nice.
Man, I mean, you know, and I know I owe you some Hudson burgers, and I got a little under the weather, but you know I'm going to make it up to you.
Sure, no problem, because I'll never leave you down. Either that or I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
I kind of figured that was coming today. Hey, man, I appreciate after your barbecue, you're going to threaten me. I noticed I got cut off the barbecue list. No. Von Dago, listen, buddy, nice talking to you today here on the Heads Up Radio Network. We'll do this again, and when we got something coming up, you know, for sure, let's pencil this in. You know, maybe we can even do a remote down there during Carter Lane, okay?
Boy, wouldn't that be something?
I think it'd be good spirited, have a heck of a good time.
Yeah.
All right, until then, listen, we're going to take another short break, and then when we come back here today, we're going to wrap this all up here. And Dago, I appreciate your time and effort into this. Always love having you and talking to you. You're listening to the Heads Up Radio Network. I am the Ref, and that was the Dago, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Looking for something different to do tonight? Thinking of a restaurant that you haven't been to for a while, or a place to take the kids out for a fun night? Ever find yourself in this situation? This is a question that prompted publisher Jeanette Dunn to create Idaho Cuisine and Spokane Sizzle dining and entertainment guides. And it just keeps getting better with their pocket guides, online editions, and now online local restaurant finder at sizzleandcuisine.com. Also find local wineries, breweries, distilleries, great recipes from local chefs, hot spots and cool happenings, and chances to vote for your favorites. Be in the know about local happenings when you sign up for the Sizzlin' Cuisine e-News, delivered to your desktop weekly, and be eligible to win a free dinner for two. You've always enjoyed reading the magazines. Now it's easy to flip through them online too. Makes it easy to find restaurants that offer great menus prepared by experienced staffs who really care to serve you the best in local cuisine. Spokane Sizzle and Idaho Cuisine are online at sizzleandcuisine.com. We do the footwork to make it easy for you to find just what you're looking for. Support of Heads Up Radio's audio stream comes from people like you. Join the thousands that make independent radio stations like Heads Up Radio available to the public and your community. Please donate today.
And welcome back to the Ref. My name is Carmine Conti. You've been listening to us today on the Heads Up Radio Network. It's been great having you. Listen, today's topic was cars. the topic of entertainment, what you may have done or done in a cars. Our guest today was Dago. He gave you the peripherals on how to get a hold of him on Facebook. Check him out, guys. But most of all, check us out every Wednesday right here on the Heads Up Radio Network. My name is Carmine Conti. I am the ref. You can listen to us every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Till next Wednesday, guys, keep your head down and watch the NBA playoffs. They're starting before you can even blink.